Once more, you're heartily welcome back to the program. And if you are just joining us, you are on to Press Brief that comes on every weekdays as from 9 a.m. here in High Television. We begin first with the first publication for this morning, that is Emergence Quotidien. For this day, a report of public health, it says major diseases that kill in Cameroon. You can find more on that said paper on page 3 on the major diseases that kill in Cameroon. And moving forward with the verification of certificates gotten out of Cameroon, that is from foreign universities. It talks of the digital platform of verification that has been launched by the Minister of Public Service, Joseph Anderson Lade, in order to verify certificates that is gotten from abroad, as a chunk of the said certificate has been discovered to be forged by the said Cameroonians. Football, we move on to the qualification to the AFCON 2025 in Morocco. It says Cameroon and Kenya will clash in the Amato Ahijo Stadium in the Fandena neighborhood of Yaoundé. You can find more on that story on page 6 of that set paper of Quotidien Emergence for today. And we remain in the town of Yaoundé, this time around with a peace water project initiated by the Minister of Water Resources and Energy and the Director General of Cam Water. He says peace water project has not been disturbed or perturbed after the disruption of a major pipeline in the Emana neighborhood of Yaoundé that saw a chunk of the cubic meters of water being wasted over there in that part of the nation. We take you to the economic newspaper of Quotidien Eco News. Eco News for this morning talks of the Cameroon and the International Monetary Fund. It says the reform in terms of price and markets. You can find more on that set paper for today of the economic newspaper of Eco News Quotidien. We take you now to Tradex. The paper reports of the independence and the dependence of enterprises when it comes to the market sector. We are focusing on Tradex Petroleum Company as that paper reports for this morning. Lompanga Dam, the paper talks of the availability of water in the Lompanga Dam in order to more electricity supply megawatts to the various localities that were earmarked by that set electricity project of the Lompanga Dam. Nouvelle Horizon for this morning reports on the Ministry of Public Works. It says 358 billion CFA francs will be injected for the road construction of Yokaduma and Molondo and Kika road projects. You can find more on that set paper following the announcement of the Minister of Public Works, Emmanuel Ngannou Jomisi. We crossed over to this other story of the international celebration of banana plantain that will be taking place in Cameroon in no distant time. How the director of that set organization, that is Antonio Obam, has been cross-carpeting the nation to sensitize and create awareness of this upcoming banana plantain festival that will be taking place in Cameroon. We remain with the economy this time around with Economie du Cameroon newspaper that talks of lobbying no to Sarkozy, former French president. You can find details on that paper of Economie du Cameroon for today. Moving on to this other story that talks of new industry and the Seman Group Patrice. It says a union that received 2 tons of cocoa beans. You can find more on that said paper for this morning. And move away from the economy, we now take you to the next publication for this morning. We cross over to the National Bilingual Daily Cameroon Tribune for today. Cameroon Tribune reports of emergency in the health sector. It talks of the dispositions or the prescriptions put in place by the Minister of Public Health after meeting with stakeholders from the World Health Organization as the Deputy Director General of the World Health Organization, was in Cameroon for a working session with his counterpart of Cameroon, that is the Minister of Public Health, Malachi. That is what Cameroon Tribune newspaper is telling us for this morning. And that sets a paper on the bottom page story, a report on education. It says teachers in limelight as Cameroon teachers join their counterparts the world over tomorrow to celebrate International Teachers Days, observe every 5th of October. Moving on to the next story on Cameroon Tribune for this day, talks of the match between Cameroon and Kenya. Yaoundé to host the encounter. The match will be played at the Amadou Ahidjo Stadium in Fandena. We now take you now to the next paper for today. The next tabloid will be Mutation of Thierry Diaga report of Yaoundé talks of pollution of land. Pollution by lantrines by toilets in Yaoundé, according to that paper for today of Mutation of Thierry Diaga. And that's at Mutation, the paper talks of electricity outages. It says it talks of Camtel, the only one responsible for disturbance of internet provision. That was internet services, not electricity service. According to that paper of Thierry Diaga for today, Measure National Dialogue 5 years after, the part talks of what have been achieved for the past 5 years. That was a question. You can find the history of Mutation of Thierry Diaga. Taking you to quotidian economics of the invention of petroleum-related products, it says National Monetary Fund continues to mount pressure on the Cameroonian government, as reported by Quotidian Economy for today. And we take you to this other story on that said Quotidian Economy, that is Tengwa Bangin. It talks of the test PA. It says how to make sure Cameroon benefits from this global initiative. Get to read details on that said publication for today. Info Matin for this morning talks of development in Africa. It says Aman-Claude Abanda takes this inclusion training quite serious. You can find more as he was speaking in this just ended Pan-African Summit that just took place, organized by the African Union. Later down for this morning, the Student Affairs newspaper report on Lutidian report on Christian Zogo Quets. It talks of the architect of digital transformation. Get to read more on that said paper for this day. And a new platform launched by the Ministry of Higher Education and that the Ministry of Public Service and Administrative Reform in order to verify certificates gotten from foreign universities by Cameroonians, as Cameroonians has been notorious for using forged documents emanating from foreign universities. This according to that paper of late today. Innovation for this morning talks of the freedom of the press. It talks of Bobby Kono, it talks of Bomikono win the process against Bella Belinga. You can find more on that said paper for today. Corruption. The state of Cameroon lost 114 billion CFA francs to corrupt practices for the past 5 years. This was the presentation of the report by the president of the Anti-Corruption Commission, Reverend Dieudonné Masigams. You can find details on that his report on page 5 of Innovation newspaper for today. The health paper Quotidien Eco Santé report on the preparation of health emergency. It says Cameroon gets this system after meeting with stakeholders from the World Health Organization from Switzerland, precisely in Geneva recently. You can find more on that said paper for today. Away from the health paper, we take you to the next publication for this morning. We crossed over to the papers from Nigeria, beginning with the Nigerian Tribune. The national print from the Nigeria from Abuja have as lead story: Tinubu to terrorists, bandits surrender surrender or face renewed military onslaught, according to that paper of Nigerian Tribune for this morning. Get read details on that paper on page 26 of Nigerian Tribune. Senators back bill for South-South Development Commission and protest in Rivers over local government election. We move on to court bars VIO from confiscating vehicles, imposing fines, according to page 5 of Nigerian Tribune for today. Business Day for this morning talks of multinationals exit Nigeria operations to limit forex exposure and independence. Nigerian foot drag to unlock 180 trillion naira assets as debt piles. Daily News Hub for this morning reports of anti-terror war. It says wanted bandit kingpin Tunji Des military says I'm not afraid to die. And in that said paper, Nigerian tired Nigerian tired will change this government in 2027, according to Kwankwaso, who happens to be one of the leading opposition figures in next door Nigeria. And Governor Ayatiwa appoints Kayode Fasu Owena as Press Limited Managing Director, Editor-in-Chief. You can find details on that appointment on page 25 on that set paper. First news for this morning says end to harassment. Court bars VIO from stopping impounding vehicles, imposing fines on motorists. And we move on to Tinubu to terrorists, bandits surrender now or be wiped out. And we move on to this other story. Court summons Yaya Bello over 110 billion naira fraud allegation. Just to reiterate, Yaya Bello was the former governor of Kogi State in north central Nigeria. Femi Falani, the firebrand human rights lawyer who happens to be the father of Afrobeat singer Falz, says I never met or spoken to the transgender or cross-dresser Bobrisky. You can find more on that said paper after he was speaking in a flagship program on Channels Television yesterday. Taking you to Metric Sports for this morning says Europa Conference League. It talks of Fernandes sees red again as Manchester United, Porto draws, Spurs, Chelsea win, and we take you to Javier Renard reveals why he rejected Super Eagles' offer as head coach of Nigeria. The metrics for this morning says Rivers State local government polls, opposition grows as Fubara cries out, and the Central Bank of Nigeria CBN introduces electronic matching system to eliminate speculation in forex markets. The Punch for this morning talks of the National Petroleum Company of Nigeria NNPC votes or 8 million barrels monthly for 8.8 billion US dollars debt reports. You can find more on that said paper of the Punch for today. Tinubu's to Nigerian to bow to custom NPA orders from revenue collection and October 1 deadline naira for crude deal fails to take off. We move on to Iran. Summons envoy as Israel intensifies Beirut bombing. Away from that publication of the Punch, we now move on to the Guardian Post for this morning that says 2025 presidentials, UPC divided over Bia Akere Muna candidatures, and UBA appoints Fonda Fred Fanda as chief finance officer for Africa, and disruption in internet connection calls. Telecommunication Regulatory Board says Camtel not solely responsible for the poor service provision in the country. We are talking of the Guardian Post, not the Guardian, please. And still in that sense, the Guardian Post, the paper report for this morning that says 2024 first half, UBA records double digits growth, impressive performance, according to the Guardian Post for this morning. And from the Guardian Post, we'll be moving on now to the Guardian. The Guardian for this day says Nigerian teachers lured by passion, impaired by political class, broken system, according to the Guardian from Nigeria. And it said the Guardian, ASU, that is the Syndicate of University Lecturers in Nigeria, talks of hopeless state situation worse than that in 1984. We now take you to court grants Taraba ex-governor Ishaku 150 million naira bill alleged of stealing 27 billion naira in fraud suits. You can find more on that paper for this morning. Leadership Friday for this day talks of drop arms or be killed. Tinubu wants terrorists and bandits all across Nigeria. If you wish to contest in 2000, if you wish contest in 2007, this is according to one of the political figures in Nigeria who made that statement. And we now crossed over to Cameroon with the voice of Randy Josa talks of the National Commission for the Promotion of Bilingualism and Multiculturalism, headed by Peter Mafani Musonge. The paper talks of this colloquium of intercommunal conflict. Nico Hale advocates greater involvement of natural rulers. You can find more on that set paper for today. Useful but and for useless good tussle between Samuel Etofis and Narcis Mwele Kombi, key member to moderate over halt of electoral process in the upcoming PCC elections. This is a Presbyterian church in Cameroon. We'll be heading to the polls to elect who to mount the affairs of the church of the PCC for the next 5 years as moderator and the synod clerk will be elected by November. 2025 presidential, Kerem Muna gets another endorsement from some political opposition parties. La Voix du Consommateur of our force Abena Aisi for this day talks of the Yaoundé Douala Express Road. He says is now enter phase 2 of construction after the launch of activities by the Minister of Public Works Emmanuel Ngano Jomisi. Moving on to this explosion of papers projects, this water pipe disconnection that took place in the Yaoundé neighborhood of Emana. It says everything is intact. You can find details on that said paper for today. Moving forward with our international tabloids, we move on to the Guardian. The Guardian from the United Kingdom says MPs to be given historic votes on legalization of assisted dying and 22 billion British pounds for carbon capture scheme. You can find more on the Guardian for this day. Biden hints at Israeli plane to hit Iran oil refinery. We move on to the next publication for this morning. We now take you to Daily Mirror. Daily Mirror reports of amazing 16-year-old Liz on making special memories with Kate, and this is a cancer survivor who was welcomed by Kate Middleton, the wife of Prince William of Great Britain. We take you now to this other publication for today, this other international publication that we are having on our disposal. The Sun reports on can beat a bit of bowling exclusive and Flint off to host Bulls EIs. Get to read more on the Sun for today. From the Sun newspaper, we crossed over to the next publication of I talks of energy price scare after Biden says Israel could attack Iran's oil, and we take you now to new assisted dying law possible in 2025 after parliamentarians of Great Britain in the House of Commons voted on that situation yesterday. Away from that, let's wrap up the program with the last paper for today. La Voix du Jeune for this morning talks of prevention of malaria. Women and men of the media has been called upon to educate the Cameroonian masses on the best practices and ways to mitigate the prevention of malaria disease that happens to be one of the major killers in Cameroon. We are talking on La Voix du Jeune. Thank you. And with La Voix du Jeune, this is what concludes today's presentation for today, as we urge you to take the appointment for next Monday, where I will be here by 9 a.m. Thank you so much for the privilege of your company. Good day.